This is Aiden's music collection, and today we're going to be reviewing Damn by Kendrick Lamar. I know it's a bit of an older album, but I still like it a lot. It's definitely a well known album, obviously. It's Kendrick Lamar in 2018, but I still like it a lot, and so I think I still want to talk about it. But just opening the album with Blood, it's an intro by B Con. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but I'm pretty sure it's Beacon, like beacon. But it starts off with asking if it's wickedness, if it's weakness, and it's up to you to decide if you're gonna live or die. Um, it's under kind of a eerie beat when Kendrick Lamar's kind of helping a blind lady, asking like if she needs help finding something, and then she's like, "You have lost something. You've lost your life," and then it ends off with a gunshot. Um, it's a it's an intro that loops back into the last song of the album. But I think as an intro, it's a very good start just because it leads into everything else that happens throughout the album. How you lost something, you're looking to find something, and the the difference between wickedness and weakness, and if you're going to overcome it or not. And then it goes into DNA. I think Mike Will was really good on this album. If I'm pretty sure he had three albums that he produced or three songs he produced on here, and I think Mike Will was really good on this album. Every song he produced, it kind of like was a punch every time Kendrick had a bar. It always ended kind of with like a big punch. It seemed like to me, but it starts off with a sample of with Fox News, kind of like how Blood ended, talking about like criticizing one of his lyrics and not like how they don't like it. It's against their views. But it starts off with that on DNA, and it kind of asserts him like I know who I am and I'm better than you type of thing. Like as he had said, your DNA is an abomination, mentioning how your backbone doesn't exist. I think it's really good. Really, I'm better than you is kind of what he's saying, and what I thought. I thought he was really just saying, I'm better than you. I'm a better rapper than you. It goes into Ya. He talks more about Fox News. But this time he calls out the reporter that had kind of chastised him in the song. From Two Pimp Butterflies, All Right. Um, he called him out by name in the song, Gerardo Rivera, but I think he mispronounced it on purpose as Geraldo Rivera. Maybe more of like a disrespectful tone onto it. Um, he talks about keeping the family close, having few tighter relationships opposed to a lot of loosely felt relationships, and kind of struggling to not be materialistic, um, and talking about it as it's a spiritual struggle, which I thought was really interesting. But I believe this was a song that opened to his cousin Carl talking to him that gets brought up later in the album. But I thought it's definitely a big part of it. A lot of more rah rah, I guess. Really just, but a little more smoother, but still gets a point across of I don't really like who you are, but I'm trying to be not as the person I used to type of thing. And then Element, he pretty much just says I'm better than you again. He mentions you can't take me on my element. Um, he's saying that you can't because of what he grew up with and kind of like who he was around. Just living in Compton, it wasn't the easiest up and coming, but yeah, and then I thought it was really funny of how I was saying like if I gotta slap you, I'm gonna make it look sexy. Just kind of like warning others like don't test me or I'm gonna show you what I can do against you. And I thought it was definitely one of my I like this song quite a bit. Really just letting you know who he is and how he is better than you. And then it gets into feel. It's it was more of a it's the first of the album that kind of pushes away from all of the not cockiness but more of a I'm better than you, I guess you could say cockiness, but it's more of Kendrick Lamar trying to push people away and just kind of want to be isolated, like just being alone. And gets upset when people ask him to pray for him when there's no one praying for him. Mentioned in other parts of this album and other albums that since his grandma is gone, who's praying for me? And if there are people asking me to pray for them, who's praying for me? And so I thought this was actually a really good song. Like the title feel, it's more feely in feelings. I thought it was really nice. And then Loyalty with Rihanna, I thought was really good. Crushing others people's loyalty, um, as he's always asking throughout the song, tell me who you're loyal to, and then just wanting to like kind of test out relationships, talking about the true meaning of devotion, wanting to know what your true feelings are, like who do you really want, what do you really want. I thought Rihanna did a really good job on this song. Obviously, it's Rihanna, but I think they worked really well together. Also, like being a part of the same chorus and parts of the song, I thought was really nice. And then going on to Pride, one of my favorite songs of Kendrick has Steve Lacy producing with Beacon on it. This is the second time I realized that Beacon was on it with another intro. And the amount of times I've listened to this album, I didn't know Steve Lacy was on here. Maybe because I didn't really look too far deep. I was just listening because it sounded really nice. But actually, like looking deep diving into it, seeing Steve Lacy on there made a lot of sense. Definitely a lot of the same tones, I guess. A lot more, not funkier, but a lot more flowy, kind of going with the rhythm. And then Beacon, I thought, had another really good intro. Definitely distinct, and so it's kind of you can kind of tell when it's happening. Like you can probably tell the same between Blood and Pride that it's the same guy. But I thought he did another good job. He talks about the struggling to fully put his pride to the side, struggling with his ego, and how it ruins connection between people. I thought it was a really great song, really. Because I feel like some people, especially that could be growing up, how Kendrick grew up, um, could struggle with keeping their pride to the side. Maybe having too much egos, like I can't let this down because what are other people going to think of me? But I thought this song was really good in discussing those things. And again, Beacon did a great job. Steve Lacy did a really good job on the producing part. And I think it's a little more than halfway throughout the album. It's 14 songs. It's it's a great first half. You can't say it hasn't been a good first half. And then getting into Humble, another Mike will do it. Um, there's a dark piano that he uses here. And I think it's just when it needed. Kind of like how The Alchemist, or yeah, The Alchemist did Meet the Grams. More like it's really eerie if you were to pay attention to it, but then it has that same punch effect that complements Kendrick, and I don't think it takes away from the lyrics that Kendrick Lamar says. I think it's really good in every way. Really, it kind of goes back to the first couple songs in the album when he's like, I know who I am. You're nothing to me." But it's ironic because he's telling them to step back and be humble, but watch me do what I do, not being humble. And then it gets into Lust. Really a self explanatory song. It's about lust, kind of like how a lot of these things, like loyalty, feel, pride, humble, every single word titled track on this album is what it's about. And so it's really easy to understand this album, which I think is really helpful for someone that's trying to get into nice music. Um, it's showing how he and society kind of struggle with the consuming of like the nature of desire, just kind of like falling into it, saying, but also I thought it was interesting in the chorus, he was kind of saying how he needed some water, which in Good Kid Mad City, Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst, kind of goes into the same representation on how water is being used as God, and it's like holy water. He needs water. He's dying of thirst. Like how the old lady in Singing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst is like, or in Good Kid, Mad City, saying like, you guys shouldn't be acting like this. You need Jesus, and it's like you need holy water. And so I thought this was a really good song. Actually, I thought it had a really good message. And then when Love comes around, Kendrick Lamar kind of asking his partner, if I was to not be who I was today, would you still love me? I get the same type of feeling with 50 Cent's 21 Questions. Just kind of like, if I didn't smell so good, would you still hug me? Type of thing, which I think was really. It's not like it's uncreative because he does it in his own way. If he was to minimize his own net worth, if he was to just have get rid of his all of his money, would you still love me? And I thought it was really nice. Seriously, yeah, really. Just if I wasn't Kendrick Lamar, the Grammy winning artist, would you still love me? And I thought that was really nice. Going into Triple X, one of my favorite songs, just because I get some similar vibes from Untitled Unmastered on this, even though it was a different era of Kendrick. Like Untitled Unmastered was like 2014. This is 2018 Kendrick after To Pimp a Butterfly. I still kind of get the same vibe, but again, it's Mike Will Do It producing. It's so good on the way he's doing it on this album. I mean, I know of Mike Will Do It, haven't been searching for Mike Will Do It. I know of him, but really focusing on This Is Who He Is. The three songs that he's on here are unbelievable when it comes to the producing. Not as a producer, but as a listener, I think it's amazing. It's just every time he's producing, it's just it it lets Kendrick get into a flow that's really aggressive, and that's just what I like to hear. So when Kendrick gets into like an aggressive mode, it's really just no one I think can have that same flow and sound better than Kendrick Lamar on a song like Triple X, on a song like Humble. And I think it's really maybe people don't pay attention enough to it, in my opinion. But going bar for bar, it wraps into Kendrick helping a friend get vengeance on his son that had died and kind of facing the court, and it's like, I did this. And a guy who throughout the album is trying to be like, I'm a I'm a righteous man. How quick they can get turned into wickedness, kind of like how it is the first lyrics of Blood, the opening track. Is it wickedness? Is it weakness? You decide. And I think it's, I mean, I'm going to say it for every song just because I think it's a really great album. Every song on here is good, especially Triple X. One of the ones I like the most is Triple X. Getting on to Fear, this is when his cousin Carl gets more into the equation. They actually start talking about the voicemails on this song as it starts and ends with calls from cousin Carl. Um, in mentioning to the song "Ya," I think it was the second song in the album "Ya." Um, but this time it's him saying, "I know why you have a chip on your shoulder, and it's because we are a cursed people." In his words, just saying like, I know why you're so mad. I know why you feel so anxious. You have a chip on your shoulder, and it's because we're cursed people. He says, which I thought was really interesting. Mentioning some more verses in the Bible. And then Kendrick eventually goes on to talk about the three stages of fear that he's faced throughout his life at 7, 17, and 27. When he was 7, talks about discipline from his mother, from, it could be misquoting, but from his mother and from gangs when he was 7 with harsh discipline. And then when he was 17 with gang violence because trying to not get so involved, kind of like how in Good Kid Mad City, the art of peer pressure, not trying to be solely a part of it, trying to still get out and be Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, trying to be who he wants to be. Really worried about losing it all. You know, he's famous, he has a fiance, he's buying all these cars, he's being luxurious, he's flaunting all of his stuff. What would happen if I was to lose it all today? Is what he's really worried about right now in 2018. What would happen if I was to lose it all just right now? Which I thought was actually very vulnerable to talk about, especially in all three phases of your life. And then on the song God, it flaunts into his status and who he is. He's scared of doing so because he feels like a hypocrite. Mentioning throughout the album, "Don't judge me." Um, but then it's like, look at me. I came from this. Now I'm all the way up here. He calls himself a god or a god like. Like, this is what God feels like is the lyric. Like, this is what God feels like. And anyone that feels the same, you're wrong because I'm the only one that feels this way. And the theme I get from the album is there's one song, there's two parts, there's two different albums, but they're into one. Like how it's fear and then it's God, how it's lust, then it's love. But I think it works together because it shows like how I think bounced around some people can be with their personality. They can be one thing but then show another, but you know who you truly are, type of thing. And so I think again, obviously, it's my favorite Kendrick Lamar album. That and Two Pimp a Butterfly go hand in hand. I think Damn is, since Two Pimp a Butterfly is so much bigger. There could be more filler or not things that go as hard as it does on Damn, but I'll do that one on another day. And then the final track of the album, my favorite Kendrick Lamar song of all time, Duckworth. It's an intro with Kid Capri and Beacon again. Um, Kid Capri has been on a couple of songs on this album, but Beacon with his third intro. And this one, I believe, is produced by The Alchemist. There's a couple of like old timey samples, but also some newly aged samples from 2018. I really recommend watching a breakdown on it. I think there's like samples from like decades ago, and then there's samples from like 24K Magic with Bruno Mars. I think you guys should really, or anyone should really just watch a breakdown on the samples. It's The Alchemist. He's really good at what he does. I really like West Side Gun, and when The Alchemist works together, it's really just unmatched. So, but it goes into the storytelling that Kendrick Lamar has is my favorite trait of his. It's there's so many stories. It's like listening to your dad tell you stories from his high school. But really anyone telling stories to you, really, because it's he tells it so well and there's so much attention to detail, especially in Duckworth. Talking about how a guy named Anthony was going into his dad's work, Kenny, his KFC job. I'm pretty sure it was KFC or Popeyes. Went to his job planning to rob the place, but out of the generosity of his father, Kendrick's father, he gave him extra biscuits. I'm pretty sure, like gave him stuff for free so he wouldn't hurt him or rob the store. And because he did that, he spared his father. Years later, Kendrick Lamar joins a label called Top Dog Entertainment, and the founder is Anthony. And then they meet together, and everyone gets back together again. Really a great story. I recommend watching that story. There's a bunch of animations about it that could put it more to picture than I can say to words. But Duckworth is my favorite song of all time because of the storytelling on it. And then it loops back to Blood as it ends with another gunshot. Like, what would happen if my father did get robbed, did die? I would grow up in a gang and die in a gunfight. Die in a gunfight. It's unbelievable how this album really just bounces around and doesn't sound so choppy, sounds so slow. Everything has its own identity, I think, in this album. And 14 songs, 55 minutes long. I mean, he's a Pulitzer Prize winner. I mean, he, my opinion, is the greatest rapper of all time. Just because of everything that he can do with flow. He can be soft and aggressive. He has incredible storytelling. And he's just not controversial. Like Drake in their beef, very controversial. Kendrick really isn't controversial. And I think that's like he's Mr. Morale. I think a lot of people can look up to that. So, obviously, it's my favorite album. I like it a lot. I don't think again there's not a single skip. I bought the vinyl, which I will show, but um yeah, I think obviously it's a 10 out of 10. I say 10 out of 10 because there is no skips and that there isn't really a skippable part to songs. Like how normal pop is like there's really like a 15-second snippet and like this is a really good part of the song. Every part of every song is good and great. And that's why I think it's a really good album. And so next, I think I'm gonna probably do something like a Tribe Called Quest. Haven't listened to a lot of their stuff. That's what I'm gonna be doing though. And so, and then this is my vinyl that I have. Um, I think I got it for Christmas one year. The first one I ever got was Mr. Morale, but I didn't actually get like a player to like 6 months after I bought it. It's a double album. well, double vinyl. Um, very cool presentation. Very cool presentation. Um, on Duckworth, I think the production by Ninth Wonder was really, 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 really amazing. I think Ninth Wonder did a really good job. Pretty much everyone on here did a really good job. Um, and so yeah, Thundercat is on feel underrated part. I think people can say with Thundercat on there. I thought he was a really did a really good job on Two Pimp Butterfly, but that can be a different conversation for another day.